Dear Madam President, fellow Toastmasters and guests, please welcome the hero of my speech this evening. I want to tell you about rubber balloons. Why did I choose the topic? Because, in my opinion, rubber balloons can symbolize two very important things in our lives. The first one is knowledge and skills we acquire. And the second thing is our self-image. And I even demonstrated in the beginning how our self-image can blow up sometime when there is too much hot air. And how, when you put in effort, your knowledge and skills expands. Talking about knowledge and skills, we all essentially start with something like that. Formless, ugly, rubber something. You have to start doing something to turn it into something beautiful. Well, many hesitate to make the first step. But sometimes, when you start mastering a skill or acquire knowledge, you take a rubber balloon, which is very easy to inflate. Let me tell you a story. There was a group mate in the institute who once told me that he spent a summer living in the United Kingdom with a foster family. I guess I can call them like that. Well, it was very interesting. He told me, well, the family was fine. The experience was absolutely different. I fought with some guys. They're funny guys. Well, my actual question was, how did you get there in the first place? Well, he told me, I won an English contest. Well, it was very interesting. I was very impressed. He lived in Resign, and there was an English contest. And he decided, why shouldn't I try my luck? He went there, and he proved to be the only contestant. And the automatic winner of the contest. So sometimes, taking first step can be very easy for you. You can already see some results. Another example. Half a year ago, in October, I went with my girlfriend to Cyprus. And I was very eager to try the water of the sea. Well, but when I dipped my feet, it was comparatively cold. I didn't want to go in. My girlfriend told me, are you an idiot? We came here, you should swim in the sea. Well, I did my best. I went in. You probably know the experience. When you come up to the chest in the water, and you stay there, splashing water on your face, and then you said, well, I'll do it. You dive, make a couple of moves, and that's okay. You can swim easily. But the trick is, once you start swimming, you better go on with that. Because if you stop in the beginning, it will be rather cold for you. Not very convenient. The second thing is, when you start doing something, when you start inflating your balloon, you probably should stick to it. Well, you can join a Toastmaster club. Hey, I'm a good speaker already. I visited a couple of meetings. I participated in table topics. Very nice experience. Not only your balloon looks not very impressive, if you don't blow air into it, it leaks some air as well. So if you just inflated it a little and went away, you'll probably find it making strange noises and looking worse than you left it. When you do your best to inflate your balloon on a regular basis, you become a very good performer. You acquire a very strong skill, very solid knowledge. Give you a couple of examples in the Toastbusters club. Well, not many of you know Mary Beketova, but everyone in here owes her the fact that the Toastmaster exists. She was very active with her balloon when he came to Moscow Free Speakers, and we handed her one. Another brilliant balloon inflator is your president Valeria Kholodkova. When she joined Moscow Free Speakers some 6 years ago, I believe, she went at her balloon right away. She became the vice president PR. It didn't take her too long. At the moment, and she's been constantly working on her balloon, at the moment, she has nearly all possible titles you can get in our organization, except best speaker. You do? I'm very sorry. Best speakers, best speaker, best personal evaluator, best general evaluator, best anything. She's a very experienced and varied speaker, personal evaluator. And once again, she took Moscow Free Speakers to another level, and you are very lucky, members of Toastbusters, that she's your president this term. There are even more impressive examples of people who treated their balloons seriously. Let me ask you a question. Could those of you who know who Floyd Mayweather Jr. is and Manny Pacquiao is, raise your hands. Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao. 2 people. That shows me that only 2 people care about professional boxing in this audience. How many of you have ever heard about Mike Tyson? Could you please raise your hands? See what happened? The guy was in his prime some 25 years ago, and almost anyone knows about Mike Tyson. He was larger than life. At 20, he became the youngest heavyweight champion in the world. At 21, he unified 3 titles and became the absolute champion of the world. And he, I believe, is the only person who defended his absolute heavyweight champion 6 times in a row. How did he do that? Well, of course, he was naturally aggressive, almost a psychopath. It helps in professional boxing, I believe, to an extent. But on the other hand, as his trainers attest, when he started doing boxing, and it was about 13 years ago when he spent some time in juvenile hall for petty crimes, the trainers found him in the middle of the night, besides his regular trainings, doing shadow boxing and pumping his muscles. He just loved doing that. And he spent a lot of time pumping his balloon. Well, it logically flows from my balloon analogy that the more you inflate it, the better. Unfortunately, that's not the truth. Because 2 things go in parallel. The balloon of your skills and knowledge, and the balloon of your self-image. And with self-image, too much can be bad for you. And that's what happened to Mike Tyson regarding this greatest boxer everybody knows. He was undefeated. He just ripped world champions apart. He's roughly my height, and has a funny voice, by the way. But if you try to make a joke on him, God help you. And he beat 2-meter guys. World champions were afraid of him. Sometimes it took him 30 seconds to dispatch of a world champion. Sometimes it took him several rounds. And naturally, his balloon, or his self-image, grew a little too large. When in 1990 he was to face Buster Douglas, he was 40-1 favorite. Meaning that if you gave $10, not gave, but booked $2 to Buster Douglas, you would have won $400. Nobody believed in Buster Douglas. Neither did Tyson. His training regimen at the moment was alcohol, scientific speeches, talks, intellectual conversation with prostitutes in the middle of the night, and absence of training. According to the documentary I watched, he was, in the preparation to Buster Douglas fight, he was knocked down for the first time in his career. And his trainer told him, Mike Tyson, Mike, you're not a Superman. You're just a regular person. If you don't train, you lose. And he did. Well, even a terrible shaped Mike Tyson was able to almost knock out Buster Douglas. But somehow, in the 10th round, Buster Douglas did what everybody thought was impossible. He knocked out the Iron Mike. And by the way, Mike said that it was one of his most useful experience in terms of sobering him up a little. It happened to me as well, believe it or not. I'm not a Mike Tyson, of course. I didn't achieve much, but it happened to me even in Moscow Free Speakers. The thing is that what I admire about newcomers is that they chutzpah, right? I've seen several newcomers taking the stage and delivering icebreakers. Some of them blush because they're too nervous. Many of them are scared to look at people. I was a little overconfident on the stage. It wasn't very difficult for me. Probably because of my teaching experience and because I talk too much all the time and using Toastmaster clubs as outlet for my desire to talk. I was overconfident. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, and members of Moscow Free Speakers started presenting me as one of the most active new members, one of the most prospective new members, and my self-image started growing a little too much. And when Mary Beketova appeared, who was my rival, one of the most active new members, when another new member, Alexei Kravtsun, appeared, who was very active, I felt very jealous and even hurt. There was too little space for my self-image in the room and for theirs as well. Well, what did I do? I decided that it was better for me to consider myself a regular person, to deflate my balloon a little bit. What can we take from the balloons? Well, first of all, Thomas. Marina?
Lina.
Elina?
Lina.
Lina. Alexander. Pavel, I'm not giving you one because you are new to Toastmasters. And Justin. When you joined the Toastmaster meeting, this Toastmaster meeting, you received your balloons. Please spend your time, if you're interested in Toastmasters, please start inflating them and keep doing that. It will definitely prove useful for you. Well, for those of you, for young members who already started blowing their balloons, like Rahim Satov, like Ekaterina here, Maxim Kononov, Maxim, forgot your last name, doesn't matter. Keep inflating your balloons. Your balloons start looking pretty. Some of you have already proved to be future starlets, perhaps even stars of Moscow Toastmasters community. Keep doing that. Don't let it deflate because of leakage of the air. And to experienced members, please remember that perhaps from time to time it's worth deflating your balloon a little bit so you can see what we can learn from even the newest members of our club. Madam President,